I just want to also do a quick addendum to my last video, my tranny video, which is about women and trannies, and why I think women are rushing to the defense of trannies and to normalize trannies and tranny bullshit. And I think a lot of this has to do with misplaced maternal instincts. These trannies are really good at playing the victim and at whining and crying and acting oppressed. And when women see that, it triggers their maternal instincts. And like I said before, women have these maternal instincts because if you have a crying baby that wants to be fed, the right thing to do is to feed it. And that's a helpful thing to do. And you want a crying baby to grow. And so if a crying baby is, crying for food or whatever, or some other need, then, you want to indulge it. And that's a perfectly sensible and a perfectly apt and a perfectly appropriate response to a crying baby that needs to be fed. And the problem is it's tremendously inappropriate and inapt when the problem is literally almost anything else, like it is with this tranny nonsense. And you don't want that problem to grow, so you don't want to feed it. So, this is just another way I think that women are, tremendously unhelpful and tremendously destructive when their sensibilities are applied at a scale or in a context where they're inappropriate, which is almost any scale larger than or other than, the home and the family. And this is just symptomatic of, not knocking women up and giving them enough children to keep them busy and keep them out of trouble. They need that. They need something to take care of that's going to be, a pro-social outlet or a productive outlet for those instincts. And, we've really failed as a society in providing them that. And, we need to step up our game in that respect. And we need to get them back out of the public sphere and back into the private sphere, with children of their own to take care of. And I've seen shitlib women doing this with shitlib children, talking about how they can be whatever they want to be and suggesting that they should want to be, anything but what they are. And I don't know how much of this, they do to their own children, or if they just do it to each other's children. If they do it to their own children, that would be probably exemplary of, misplaced maternal instincts. And if they do it to each other's children, maybe there's a, more of a competitive aspect to it. They're sabotaging each other's children as a way of advancing their own. I don't know how much it goes in either direction. But it is really problematic. And I think it's probably confusing a lot of children and damaging a lot of children and harming a lot of children, more so than the trannies themselves, but, the women who have taken this up as a cause on behalf of the trannies because of the shrieking and the crying and the, playing the victim that these trannies do. So whether it's trannies themselves or whether people, taking up their cause, I think this is tremendously destructive. And what it amounts to, they want, the trannies want and the tranny enablers want to teach this madness to your children and to our children and to my children, when I get around to having some. And I just really think this is tremendously destructive and tremendously costly. And there's almost no retaliation that would be too severe for attempting to impose this cost, on my children or on your children. And what it really represents is, an attempt to destroy the parental investment you are making in your children. An attempt to destroy all the time and energy and love and resources that you lavish on your children by leading them into a self-destructive and socially destructive path that, is an evolutionary cul-de-sac, and that results in the end of your line. So, in evolutionary terms, this is tantamount to murder, and it's a really big deal. It's a really serious deal. And, I just want to emphasize that, the enormity of this cost they're attempting to impose by teaching this nonsense and by trying to get their hands on as many children as they can, as early as they can, to teach this really unhealthy, really destructive nonsense that's probably confusing and misleading a lot of children into destructive paths and, paths that have no payoff or no positive outcome, that are leading to evolutionary cul-de-sacs, that culminate in the end of a line. And that's really just, it's terrible. And there's almost no retaliation that's too severe for, the enormity of that crime, that attempted crime that they are attempting to commit. And, we just really don't need to tolerate this. And zero tolerance is the best policy. So, I just really wanted to underscore that again and emphasize how destructive this stuff is, and how destructive it is to let women kind of, influence the discussion or influence the narrative, or, get involved in these issues where their sensibilities and their intuitions lead them astray and lead them to commit to and participate in these tremendously destructive causes.